It's an offer some would-be homeowners find hard to refuse, a house for the price of a cup of coffee.
When the Dollar House program became available, that was a great opportunity.
That's right, Gary, Indiana is offering a home for $1. To apply, you need an income of $35,000 a year, the money to fix it up to local building standards within 6 months, and the patience to live in it for 5 years. It's the latest effort by a blighted American Rust Belt city to cope with an unwanted bounty of abandoned homes. Bankrupt Detroit is tearing them down, but that's expensive, about $10,000 each, and Gary doesn't have it. And in Gary, blight is everywhere, next to City Hall and at the old post office, now an urban arbor. This church represents Gary's heyday. It was built in 1925, abandoned 50 years later, and since then, like so much in this town, it's been allowed to fall apart. Now, the city can't even afford to tear it down. The mayor dreams of a museum to Gary's most famous son, Michael Jackson, and turning this airfield into a third airport serving Chicago, just 45 kilometers away. But first, she needs to make Gary look more like a city and less like a ghost town.
We not only add value and add tax dollars to the city, but we add value to the adjacent homeowners, and that has a rippling effect.
But it's like scooping the sands of Gary's lakeshore with a spoon. The city hopes to sell 50 houses a year. 10,000 are abandoned, making that a 200-year project. John Hendrick, Al Jazeera, Gary, Indiana.
Wow, that's more fun than you can shake the internet at.
Yeah, they're actually stepping up and doing the right thing.
You know, in the United States, there's 4 empty homes for every 1 homeless person, and they cannot put morality 2 and 2 together. Man.
Well, that's corporatocracy for you.
Well, thanks to the people at Gary, Indiana, that they're looking at a real solution to start solving poverty problems. I'm Darren Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
You're tuned in to Video Radio. This is the innovation section. Woohoo! Let's do it!
Meet Sarah Angle, editorial assistant at Self magazine. At 23, she's part of a trend of millennials, those aged between 18 and 34, who prefer to share instead of buy. Rather than own her own bike, she opts for New York's bike-sharing program. She also uses the so-called shared economy for travel. If you don't want to buy everything you need, you can probably borrow it using Neighborrow, one of the many services that make up the fast-growing shared economy. The idea isn't new, but sites like this are gaining ground with users and investors. So what's changed?
We did not invent sharing. I think what has changed is, the internet, obviously. People more social, people more willing to go online, use these platforms.
It's thought the shared economy in the US is worth $3 to $4 billion right now, a figure that could quadruple over the next 5 years.
The sharing economy is really driven by younger people for 2 reasons. The first is they felt the brunt of the economic recession. They're the ones having really tough times getting jobs and really getting their way in life started. The second thing is they're also very technologically savvy, and that means they're able to use all these new smartphone apps that really enable the sharing economy.
Old notions about consumption and ownership are being disrupted. For this group, it's all about experiences.
We don't have the kind of money, and also we don't think it's a necessity. You know, it's not like the American dream to like own a house, own a car. I mean, we're happy if we can pay our cell phone bills.
Millennials like Sarah have been programmed to rent, borrow and share. Will that change as the economy recovers, or has the culture of shopping been altered for good?
And you know, that's a fact. The paradigm's changing.
The culture of shopping?
Yeah, I know. You know, I actually say that all the time. What culture? People watch TV, go shopping, and plan on going vacation. That is not a culture.
But it's really cool to see attitudes changing.
And millennials are leading the way by sharing. Wow, something getting back to those kindergarten days. This is Video Radio in support of the Municipal Sustainability Project, and we're going to talk about some alternatives. What do you got, brother?
Well, apparently there's an app for your smartphone to help you share your food leftovers.
Really? Sharing leftovers? Well, that would
good to me.
Actually feed people. Okay, stay tuned, start your own radio station, and above all, check this out.
Hi. Thank you. It's dinner time, and after a long day at work, it's convenient to get your meal delivered to your home. But as a newcomer to the city, I forgot how massive the portion is. Check out this pizza. It's enormous. So I've managed to eat 3 slices, but I'm totally full now. So what should I do with this leftover pizza? Well, there's an app for this. It's called Leftover Swap. So you just simply take a picture of your food and upload it. And hopefully someone nearby will want my leftover pizza. But who would be willing to eat leftover food from strangers?
It's not for everyone. More people might be comfortable with giving away food. One of the populations that we expect will love it is the college crowd.
Americans waste more than 40% of the food they produce. So if it works, it's a noble idea. The app will be officially launched later this month. As for my pizza, Samantha, a friend of Dan, has come to pick it up. It may be a small contribution, but at least it didn't go to waste.
Well, that's just cool.
Yeah, with all the hungry people in the world, 40% of food goes to waste.
Yeah, I know. That's tragic. But then again, that was the consumer mentality that we're starting to phase out. Okay?
Yeah.
I know people locally who say that all the time. I don't keep leftovers. I just throw them out. And I mean, what waste? I mean, and with this much poverty, this many people going hungry locally, how can you face yourself?
Well, at least somebody had a good idea coming up with that app to actually start sharing again.
Yeah, I know. And, there's no profit in sharing. So, of course, it's not really covered by local media. But that's why we're here. Woohoo!
Woohoo, yeah. Because we will find stuff like this and let you know about it.
Yeah, I know. And that's one of our jobs around here. If you've got a cool story, make sure you check out our Facebook group at Radio Free Canada. You can contact me, Darren Howard. And, of course, my partner in crime,
Robert Nisbet.
Yes, the man who is producing all of these amazing clips. What do you got for me, brother?
Well, we were talking in our previous segment about energy.
Okay.
And, well, there are people that are coming up with alternatives to fossil fuels.
No. Say it's not so.
Yeah, imagine a light powered by your own body heat.
I can hear conservatives quaking in their oil boots right now.
Oh, yeah. This is really cool. This is a Victoria student who figured this out.
Hi. My name's Anne, and I'm 15 years old. I live in Victoria, BC, Canada, and today I'll be talking about my hollow flashlight. So I became interested in the area of harvesting surplus energy when I realized that humans are a great source of untapped thermal energy. And my objective became to make a flashlight that runs solely on the heat of the human hand. I decided to use some cheap Peltier tiles. If this is a tile and you heat one side of the tile and you cool the other, electricity is produced. In my case, I'd be heating one side of the tile with the palm of my hand and cooling the other with just the ambient air. My first step was finding how much heat per centimeter squared our body radiates. I found this to be around 5 milliwatts, and I needed only 0.5 milliwatts to obtain a good usable LED brightness. Step 2 was to do a small characterization test of the 2 different sized Peltier tiles. I found that both tiles produced sufficient energy, but only around a few millivolts. I needed around 2.5 volts. Step 3 was finding a way to boost my voltage. My final circuit had only 4 components. I obtained a good LED brightness with less than a 50 millivolt input and around 50% efficiency. My last step was designing the physical aspect of my flashlight. Because I only needed to heat one side of the Peltier tiles, the heart of my design was a hollow aluminum tube. The air flowed freely through the tube and also cooled the other side of the tiles. My results proved my hypothesis, and I was able to produce around 5 milliwatts of power and 5-foot candles of brightness. I achieved my objective of creating a flashlight that runs solely on the heat of the human hand. So here's my flashlight. I'll just give you a quick demo, and I'll put my hand on top of it and turn off the light. Thank you.
Students, once again.
Were you that smart at 15?
Well, I'd like to think I was. And, of course, the fish was that big. You know what? Honestly, we've got the Jamaican students who ran a generator off of human pee.
I know.
Okay.
We've got the Turkish girl that made plastic out of banana peels.
And now we've got a Victoria girl who's running a flashlight off of body heat. You know, I always thought the body heat thing would work, okay? Because we generate, right? You know, I need the, pit stick because I'm generating so much heat. What if you ran a wire, like, up to warm areas?
I don't know. I don't even want to go there.
I'm not going to paint visuals like that, okay? But think about it. You know, if you put your two brain cells together, just like these students, we could do this and we could share and then get off of oil.
You mean, actually go for alternative energy?
What, like solar power?
We're spending all our money lobbying for fossil fuels. Maybe we should put some into alternative ideas.
Check this out.
It's not the most likely place to look for a solution to the planet's environmental woes, horse country outside Zurich. But here, at a research laboratory run by the computer giant IBM, scientists believe they've found one, a far more efficient way of using the power of the sun than anything solar power has achieved before. A key part of the system are these tiny photovoltaic cells designed for the space industry and capable of converting almost half the sunlight they absorb into energy, electricity. That's vastly more than current solar technologies provide. The mirror over there concentrates the sunlight down onto the cells, harnessing the power of up to 1,000 suns. This is a prototype, of course. In a year, they expect there'll be a working system 40 times larger, providing enough power for 10 homes. Put 400 of those in a field or a strip of desert and you get a 10 megawatt power station, meeting the energy needs of a small town. And there's more. Photovoltaic cells that harness the power of 1,000 suns tend to get hot, very hot. Here they've worked out how to cool their system using water, seawater, river water, even wastewater, all freely available. Having removed the heat from the cells, the warm water evaporates, leaving salt and other impurities behind. The vapor is condensed back into water, so pure you can drink it. It's the culmination of 8 years' work for Bruno Michel at the same labs that gave the world nanotechnology and 4 Nobel Science Laureates. And soon perhaps another one, who hopes to give the world abundant supplies of energy and clean water.
So we saw that Germany right now is using these huge solar arrays, and they're getting off of oil and nuclear power.
Maybe they should talk to the Swiss about these new units.
Yes, okay. And remember, they get less sunlight than we do.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's no reason why we can't be doing this. But, far be it from me to point out logic or anything.
And the side effect, the water purification thing is just amazing.
And yeah, so, we're sitting here laughing because you could hook this up in the ocean seaside right here in Canada, and you would be desalinating by sun.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of room in places like Cache Creek or Ashcroft.
Victoria, they got a whole island surrounded by oceans, and they don't want to be running more plants. They don't want to be building, like Ottawa, abandoned nuclear power and a gas-fired power plant right now. If you take a look at the Globe and Mail, they're starting to talk about cracks forming in the nuclear regulatory industry.
There's some real issues with nuclear right now.
Yes, but far be it from me to point my accusatory elbow in the direction of Fukushima. So if you've got a solution, if you've got something coming up that really works, we want you to contact us at the Municipal Sustainability Project or at Radio Free Canada on the Facebook internet.
Absolutely. We need to hear from people who have good ideas.
So what's coming up next? What do we got? A segment coming up?
We'll be talking a little bit about complementary currencies to the interest-based financial system that we live under right now.
Yes, yes. Getting out of indentured servitude, we are going to be blazing a trail for alternative currency. I'm Darren Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
Remember to check out our facts and don't take our word for it. We don't make commercials saying trust us because we don't have to. You've got a brain cell, go ahead and use it. You're tuned into Video Radio, and we're urging you to check out the Municipal Sustainability Project, one of our viral videos going around the world right now. We're going to be right back, so hang on. This is Video Radio.